Well, we got what we wanted. USA-Mexico Sunday at Jerry's World, Nations League Final. Woohoo! We did it! The means to the ends was a different story whatsoever for both teams. Mexico can't be happy about the way they performed, even though their result was never in peril. In the U.S., I should be sitting here talking about a third place game. Let's be perfectly honest. That was depressing to see a game like that where everyone was talking about this being a footballing lesson. Every American player, not every American player, but the players coming in at a very high standard where they should just knock the doors off a Jamaica team, missing their best two players. Right? They should have been taken care of at halftime, just like last year's Nations League, where it was over against Mexico in the semis and over against Canada in the final by half. But it was a different story, and there's a lot to be concerned about. There's a lot that's not well with the United States, and I know I feel like I'm giving last rites to the program, even though they won. I guess the reality is you got to give them credit. They found a way at the very last kick of the match, and then winning it in extra time. And in extra time, you knew it was going to happen because Jamaica had run their course. They were running on empty, and the United States, again, good credit, because I can't even tell you if we were, think about it. We're going to go to bed on Thursday, and Friday we'll feel a certain way, but by Saturday we were going to ramp up, and if we beat Mexico, water under the bridge, all is well. But today, here on the Soccer OG, check out the Soccer OG podcast, where all podcasts are available. Plenty of good episodes out there. A new one about the Nations League semi, and we will have one out Monday, postscript about the final against Mexico. And maybe it was all put in motion for this game to take place. Now, like and subscribe us right here. Smash that like button. We're going to be here with you for the remainder of 2024. It's going to be huge. Now, before we get into the game, there are a lot of depressing parts about this game. To me, right at the top, and I say this because we in our echo chamber get so excited about the sport, and then when you see 10,000 fans in that massive venue for the kickoff of the U.S. game, your heart sinks. Because what it tells you is that while we are excited, the masses are not. And probably people did not care about this game. I mean, there were more people on the CBS Golazo staff at Jerry's World than there were sitting in the stands. I mean, they were very thorough with their coverage. Great job on that front. They did their part to try and build it up. We try to build it up. Nobody cares. That's a big problem. Nobody cares. And we're heading towards this Copa America and the World Cup, and it feels like we are in obscurity, this sport. And this result's going to do nothing to draw fans in. They don't want to see it. There's no casuals slipping by, wanting to tune in. They're watching March Madness. It's bad. It's bad. And even the Mexico game, it was far from capacity. I don't know what CONCACAF is doing with this competition, but they've got to do a better job to get people excited and fill these stadiums. That was appalling. So that bums you out right from the beginning. And then the USA game starts 30 seconds in. They're down a goal. This is the starting 11. I was on SiriusXM with Jason Davis, and I correctly predicted the starting 11 minus Miles Robinson, who I thought was going to start, but I said Tim Ream just in case, but it turned out to be Miles Robinson. So it was Richards Robinson, Joe Scally, Anthony Robinson, Yunus Musa, Weston McKennie, Malik Tillman, Flo Balogun, Christian Pulisic, and Tim Weah. By the way, we could say what you want. I was trying to tell you about Miles Robinson. Not that he blew the doors off of this game, but he was one of our best players. He was our best defender. Chris Richards, not good. Anthony Robinson, below his standard. Joe Scally, and we knew the mistake 30 seconds in, and he gets replaced. Joe Scally's not a right-in player. I don't know how he got to that point. I don't know. I've seen him many times. This is not the first time that he's kind of puddled out in one of these games. I would like to think we have better options. And I don't want to pick on any players here, but that is That was not good. And when you fall behind that early against a team like Jamaica, you put yourself in a really difficult position. They're going to play compact. They're going to bunker down. And it was hard to crack. And the U.S. had no answers to it. So this was the exact game you can't fall behind early. And that said, you still got to find a way out. And the U.S. just couldn't do it. It was so ordinary and flat. There was really very few redeeming qualities from anybody out there. Anybody. Christian Pulisic, for all his accolades, he was a shell of his club self. Weston McKennie, even less. Anthony Robinson, I mean, these were the three best performers we had, and they were all poor. Malik Tillman, not great. Although I think he's getting a bad rap because he, of course, was started ahead of Reyna. Now, we look into the selections. I want to say Miles Robinson, he was our best defender. He was our best defender. Essentially scored the goal to force extra time. That was a big one. The midfield choices, look, Reyna is a better talent than Malik Tillman. I think we can mostly agree on that. But I don't know if you could have started Reyna based on what happened here. And yes, he performed well, but it could have looked very differently if he started. And I know everyone wants to see him do well. Not everyone does. But we want to see him do well, but we can't give him a pass. But he came in, and even as well as he did in the second half, he didn't do anything to get us on level terms. Nobody did. The output was what happened in extra time. We take with a grain of salt because Jamaica is running on empty. So, okay. And while Gio played well in that second half, where was the results? So I don't want to put him here and everyone else here. Nobody was able to unlock Jamaica over 90 minutes until the very end with Christian Pulisic. And the set pieces, by the way, is another story where it's just not good enough. So, the subs came in and did a nice job with Gio and Ricardo Pepi. I mean, Flo Balogun, the window for him to be the number one has to be closing. I mean, this was the Copa America. Everything that's happened before, I believe that they told Flo that if you're going to come to the U.S., if you're going to swear allegiance to us, you're going to be the starting number 9. But I think that process has ended. So it could be Ricardo Pepi, it could be Haji Wright. I mean, Haji Wright had a record-breaking performance, doing stuff that no one's done before. So, we're taking some positives out of here. I know people are saying Gio Reyna, nothing more positive than Haji Wright. And, of course, the jerseys, which looked really smart. Not when they were losing. When they were winning, they looked a lot better. So, I don't know what that means for the final. And the big picture here, when you're this flat and you have this, the players didn't execute, and we can blame players, but national teams have had excellent players playing in Europe and in Argentina and all parts of the world. If they're not playing well, it falls on the manager. And Gregg Berhalter really did nothing to show that he is the right guy for the job. And he's not going to lose the job, but he's going to be in charge of the Copa America, but this is really poor. Hopefully things kick into play on Sunday. But what we saw against Jamaica is just not good enough. It's just not good enough. It was just a bad day for the sport. In the stands, on the field. And there we have it. So let's try and accentuate the positive a little bit here. Yes, Gio came in. Will he probably start the next game? Probably. Beautiful passing and getting involved. But the man of the hour is Haji Wright. Great passes from Gio, but Haji had a lot of work to do on that goal to put him ahead and the goal to put him up 3-1. So Haji Wright is the story because, he wasn't on this roster at all, and he came in a big way. The goals, everything that once they tied the game, we all knew the U.S. was going to win, right? So anything that happened after that, the goal at the end in stoppage time from Pulisic to Miles Robinson off of Corey Burke. That was the goal that put us in the final. No question about it. But if we want to look at positive, it's Haji, Wright, and Gio Reyna. And again, I don't know, we should never have started Gio Reyna. There's no way you can look at his club form and say he would have started. Malik Tillman, I thought, had some nice moments. And I hate the fact that we're pitting them against each other. But this is what we do. It's okay to have the criticism to Gregg Berhalter, but pitting players against each other, you know? I mean, what if, this is the reality of our social media world, what if the Joe Scally play was Miles Robinson? Can you imagine the undressing he would have gotten? It's disgusting. But because it's Joe Scally and he's on the inside rail, we shouldn't do that to Joe Scally. We shouldn't do that to Miles Robinson. These are our players. But it makes an uncomfortable experience to watch these games. And we all have our favorites, and we put guys over and we bury other guys. And I wish we could just be on a level playing field. But anyway, it was bad. It was nice to see Tyler Adams run in there. I thought it was a nice moment when Adams was pulled out in extra time and he wanted to keep going. And Gregg Berhalter was like, no. And it was a nice little back and forth. I love Tyler Adams. The one Jamaican substitute was walking off and he grabbed him and he pushed him out. That's the kind of, flavor that we need. So I want to see Tyler Adams back in there. And whenever he's ready to go, and I am sure Gregg Berhalter is planning on him to be in the starting 11. What that does to the midfield, probably not good news for Gio. It probably means Musa and Weston invert to the top. But I think we saw something good out of Gio in a reserve capacity, in an emergency capacity. So, the second half was much better than the first half, and Gio was the only sub who came in at halftime. So that's positive. So USA will play Mexico on Sunday. Mexico, as we said in the last video, much improved, took their goals well. But if you look at the stats, Panama had their run of play, and Mexico kind of went through the motions, but did what Mexico does and were able to get the result. By no means looking menacing heading to the final. And looking better than the U.S. did, there's no doubt about it. And Panama is a better opponent than Jamaica is, especially a shorthanded Jamaica. And that's just a part that just drives you mental, because this was pig to the slaughter for Jamaica. This was a gift to the U.S. This was 4 or 5 goals. And they just couldn't figure things out. And we can make excuses for them, but everything coming into this game, the way these players were playing, told me that this was going to be a dominating performance, and it was the exact opposite. So, yeah, I'm disappointed. You're disappointed. All I can say is it could have been a lot worse. And we're here, and we get ready for the final. And we can give these guys a benefit of a doubt of a bad game. But there's been a few too many bad games as of late. And that's on Gregg Berhalter. And we've got to see a better product. And we've got to see a team that protects their home court. Got to see it. Come out and show that to Mexico. I believe that they are going to have a better performance, and I would imagine they will beat Mexico. And I think the sports books will give the United States the edge. But these players that we put so much into, McKennie and Pulisic and Balogun, they have got to deliver. Got to deliver. I want to Pontius Pilate this game and wipe it away. Don't fall behind in games either. That's bad. It's a bad habit. Bad habit. And let's show some more urgency, okay? These players have to care. I know they care, but they've got to show that they care for us. The Soccer OG. Check out the Soccer OG podcast and the entire library. Like and subscribe us here on our YouTube channel. We'll be back to recap everything after the final. Sleep well. Or if you're watching this in the morning, enjoy your day. Enjoy your coffee.